Hey, Rob here again from Absolute Body Systems. So Helen is asking, are food cravings psychological or physiological? Well, both actually, and here's why. Because when you're craving a food, you're craving a food mainly because, or partly because it's a habit. It's a habit that you've built up over the years, and it's a nostalgia thing. So I'll give you an example. I'll make this as quick as possible. I always talk about this example with my clients. When I was younger, I used to really crave food, sweet food, and I'm talking like sort of 10 years ago and such. If I go back even further, when I was a kid, I used to spend a lot of summer holidays, Easter holidays and what have you, whilst my mum was working, at my grandparents'. Now my gran was brilliant at baking. She used to cook some really good food, and when I crave something sweet, it always brings me back to this feeling. And this was feeling of the time when I was a little kid, of feeling loved. This whole nostalgia thing, right? Of feeling loved, of comfort, of warmth, of familiarity, of comfortability. All these things that come along with it. And when I'm actually craving a sweet food like a cake or chocolate or whatever, it's not actually the actual product itself that I'm craving, it's the feelings that it brings along with it, that nostalgic kind of feeling. It's that feelings of warmth and comfort and familiarity and feeling loved and everything. That's what it is. So that's what happens because it built up as a habit over years, right? In terms of the physiological, well, yes, here's how the physiological side works. Your body, and I talk about this all the time, needs 91 essential nutrients every single day. That's 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 essential amino acids, and 3 essential fatty acids. 91 in a day. So in order for your body to get those 91 per day, obviously, I mean, you can only get minerals from the ground, right? So you're having to eat stuff that comes out the ground. If your body is deficient in a certain mineral or a certain nutrient or vitamin, whatever else, if it's deficient in a certain nutrient, it will do whatever it can to find that mineral or that vitamin. As an example, if you're deficient in calcium, what your body does is it finds a way of getting more calcium into the body and using more calcium, breaking more calcium down by actually taking it and drawing it from the bones. And this is why things like diagnosis of arthritis, osteoporosis and everything else come around. Not just that, but it's one of the main reasons, because the body starts to draw on its surplus. It's the same way in that the body uses muscle tissue as energy. It's called being in a catabolic state. If your carb and fat stores are depleted, then you will start burning muscle tissue. It's an emergency source. Your body's very clever, and its number one goal is survival. So if your body, going back to the nutrients that you need in a day, if your body is deficient in a specific nutrient or nutrients, then your body will do whatever it can to find those nutrients. And this is where you start to get cravings. You'll start to get cravings and your body will just try and reach for anything and everything. It doesn't care if it's a Big Mac, a piece of chocolate, a piece of lettuce, a bit of grass or whatever. It doesn't care. It just wants it wants to be satisfied, and it wants to fill that hunger gap, and it wants to fill that craving gap, and it wants to fill that deficiency gap in the specific nutrient. And it doesn't care where it gets it from. So that's physiologically why you'll get a craving. There's many other studies and reasons to suggest why you get cravings, but physiologically it all boils down to a deficiency. And the rest is all based on psychological stuff. So you're talking more emotional and the psychological that we spoke about at the start, the feelings of nostalgia and the habits and everything else. So to answer your question, is it physiological, psychological? It's actually both. Later.